In the great trading cities of Renaissance Italy, business moved faster than memory. Ships arrived loaded with silk, spice, wool, and promise. Coins changed hands by the hour. Credit was offered, debts were delayed, and fortunes could rise before sunset. But with all this opportunity came confusion. A merchant might remember what he sold, yet forget what he owed. He might count his coins, but fail to notice a costly mistake hiding in his books. Young apprentices like Marco learned quickly that trade was not only about buying and selling, it was about keeping track of truth. Far from the noise of the market, one man was learning how numbers could bring order to chaos. His name was Luca Pacioli. Born in Italy in the 15th century, he became a Franciscan friar, a teacher, and a mathematician. He loved structure, proportion, and reason. To Luca, numbers were not cold symbols, they were tools for understanding the world. He studied mathematics, taught students, and observed how merchants worked. And in the ledgers of everyday business, he recognized something remarkable. Hidden beneath the messy habits of trade was a powerful system waiting to be explained. Luca Pacioli did not invent trade, and he did not create bookkeeping from nothing. Merchants had already been using forms of record-keeping for generations. But Luca did something history would never forget. He described the method clearly, carefully, and completely. At the heart of that method was a simple but brilliant idea. Every transaction has two sides. What comes in must come from somewhere. What goes out must affect something else. This became the principle of double-entry bookkeeping. One entry as a debit, another as a credit. Not as magic, but as balance. A way to test whether the story told by money was honest. For merchants like Bernardo, this was more than neat handwriting. It was protection. If the books balanced, the trader could trust his records. If they did not, something was wrong. Perhaps a payment was missing, perhaps a debt had been forgotten. Perhaps someone had made a costly error. Double-entry bookkeeping turned business into something more disciplined. It helped merchants track assets, debts, expenses, and profit with greater confidence. In a world of risk, storms, and uncertain partners, a balanced ledger became a quiet form of security. In 1494, Luca Pacioli published a great mathematical work called Summa de Arithmetica, Geometria, Proporzioni et Proportionalita. Inside it was a section explaining the bookkeeping practices used by Venetian merchants. That section changed history. Because once knowledge is written clearly and printed widely, it can travel farther than any single teacher. Luca's description of accounting spread across Europe. His words helped standardize a method that businesses could adopt, teach, and trust. He gave the commercial world a common language for recording reality. That is why Luca Pacioli is remembered as the father of accounting. Not because he claimed ownership over every idea, but because he organized, preserved, and explained the system that gave accounting its enduring foundation. His genius was not only in mathematics, it was in clarity. He showed that behind every coin, every contract, and every promise, there should be a record that can be checked, understood, and believed. Centuries have passed, but Luca Pacioli's influence remains everywhere business exists. From small shops to vast enterprises, the principle endures. Every transaction tells two sides of a story, and the truth lives in their ballads. What began in the ledgers of Renaissance merchants became one of the great systems of modern civilization. So the next time you think about accounting, do not picture only numbers on a page. Picture Venice, picture trade, ambition, and risk, and picture a humble friar named Luca Pacioli who helped the world keep score with honesty.